changes surfaces, light, and image so that seeing itself becomes a task. Niek Kemps was born in Nijmegen in 1952. He lives and works between the Netherlands and Belgium and came into practice in the conceptual and post-minimal currents of the 1970s and 1980s. Those decades mattered. They taught a generation to question the museum, to treat space as medium, and to think of images as behaviors rather than mere representations. Walk into a Kemp's installation and you meet materials organized as propositions: photographic reproductions, silk screens, steel frames, glass panes. They are stacked, sandwiched, and aligned so that light becomes part of the grammar. At first glance, the works can appear minimalist, almost clinical. Then, the eye discovers the seam. The ink holds differently. The glass reflects something that isn't the room. A shadow reads like a line of text. The minimal surface is, in truth, a dense field of relational effects. A key motif in his work is the edge, the boundary where one mode of perception yields to another. Titles like "The Narrow Line Between Sight and Seeing" aren't rhetorical flourishes. They map their actual problems. He constructs thresholds between transparency and opacity, between the photographic image, which promises a window, and the sculptural object, which insists on presence. Those thresholds are pedagogical. They instruct the viewer to do something different than casual glancing. Kemps's practice is at first material and institutional. He thinks about how works behave inside a museum, how they enter public life, how a corridor or airport hall can change an artwork's meaning. This reflexivity, the work that looks back at the conditions of its own reception, is central. He doesn't only make objects, he composes situations, architectural, social, and perceptual. Some pieces exemplify the way his thinking turns into form. Tropic of Gemini, for instance, reads as a long linear procession, prints beneath glass arrested by metal frames, so that landscape, sequence, and object overlap. Other works trap photograph and print within layers, arresting the eye between seeing and reading, between what is there and what is withheld. These works are patiently dialectical. They set up a proposition and then resist the easy resolution. His career placed him in major international conversations. He participated in Documenta 8 and has been shown at the Venice Biennale and many European institutions. Those invitations are not mere honors. They index recognition of Kemp's as a persistent interlocutor on questions that continue to unsettle contemporary display strategies. There is a coolness to the surfaces, but not the austerity of affectless minimalism. The coolness is a discipline that exposes friction. Glass that reflects a corridor produces a photographic double. A silkscreen image under a pane becomes a depth that resists immediate comprehension. The work's reticence is strategic. It refuses instant emotional capture, so attention must return and reconfigure. In that reconfiguring, a viewer learns, slowly, how to look. Kemps's material choices are never neutral. Glass is not simply transparent. It is an active agent that fractures both image and perception. Steel frames are not merely supports. They are vectors that guide movement and sightlines. He borrows technical logics from photography, printmaking, and architecture. then reprograms them so that each medium interrogates the others. The result is work that feels engineered and human at once. Think of his installations as exercises in choreographing attention. The viewer becomes a performer of a kind. The body is asked to approach, to step aside, to wait for light to change. The piece is completed not when it is made, but when someone spends time in relation to it. That relational completion is the ethical core of his work. Art asks for time, and time is the currency of serious looking. Kemps's work lives in multiple collections: Stedelijk van Abbe Museum, Stedelijk Museum Amsterdam, Museum Boijmans van Beuningen, Kruller Müller, Mieke, and Smaak among them. When institutions collect their work, they extend the conversation. The pieces travel into different climates, face different audiences, and continue to reconfigure the question of how display frames perception. Critics often note a tension in his pieces. They seduce and withhold. The surfaces can be quietly seductive, a sheen, a barely visible print, but their logic resists consumption. That double move keeps the work intellectually replenished. It resists the market's appetite for instant, repeatable effects. This is not anti-market posture. It is determined craft, a refusal to sacrifice complexity for immediate legibility. For younger makers, there is a lesson here about restraint and rigor. Kemps respects technique, the exactness of mounting, the choice of substrate, the discipline in composing a linear sequence. Yet technique is harnessed to a conceptual rigor, to questions about how attention is organized in contemporary life. The work trains perception like a practice, slow, repeated, patient. There is also a political element, quieter than a manifesto, but present in practice. To slow down looking is to resist the attention economies that prioritize speed, entertainment, and disposability. By building artworks that require time, Kemp stages a small resistance, cultural infrastructure that preserves the possibility of deliberation. If we want to keep artists like him alive, institutionally and intellectually, we must protect spaces that tolerate slowness and fund practices that are not immediately scalable. So what does a Kemp's piece leave inside you as you walk away? Often a residual questioning. You notice the way your glance was rerouted. You remember a small visual event that wouldn't have happened in a faster encounter. That residue is an achievement. It is a small, patient victory for attention. It is also a reminder. To see well is to accept that sight itself can be organized, contested, and taught. If you make a film or an exhibition about Niek Kemps, don't rush the camera. Let the lens sit on a surface until an image reveals itself. Alternate the close, the half distance, and the wide so the audience can inhabit the same patient learning curve. Above all, insist on the time the work needs, not as indulgence, but as fidelity to the artist's method.
If you're new here, welcome. And if you've been following this channel for a while, you already know our goal. We're building a place where art is explored slowly, thoughtfully, and with real curiosity. A place where artists, both well-known and overlooked, can be understood on their own terms. And today, I want to open that door even wider. From now on, we're inviting you, viewers, artists, curators, collectors, anyone who loves art, to suggest artists for future videos, or even apply to be featured yourself. Maybe you're an artist with a story to tell. Maybe you know someone whose work deserves more attention. Or maybe you've discovered a painter, a sculptor, a printmaker, someone whose voice is powerful but not yet widely heard. If so, we want to hear from you. How to submit? The easiest way is by email. Just send your suggestion to irayim@yourchannel.com. Include the artist's name, a short pitch explaining why the work matters, and a few links, a website, a portfolio, or images that represent the artist's practice. 3 to 6 images is perfect. If you're an artist submitting your own work, feel free to include a short bio, an artist statement, and any exhibitions or projects you want us to know about. And if you don't have time for all that, that's fine too. You can also drop a simple suggestion in the comments. Just leave the artist's name and one sentence about why you think we should feature them. What we look for. We're not chasing popularity. We're looking for depth. For artists who explore material, concept, or form in a way that feels honest and alive. We look for strong visual documentation, a compelling story, and work that sparks curiosity. We welcome new voices. We welcome underrepresented voices. And we welcome artists from every part of the world. Just one important note. If you share images, make sure you have permission, or give us the contact information of the gallery or photographer so we can request it. What happens after you submit? We review everything. If an artist fits an upcoming project, we'll reach out to request more material, images, interviews, or permission to feature the work in one of our films. And if your suggestion becomes a full episode, you'll see the artist's name here in a video that explores their world with care and depth. This channel only grows through community. Your suggestions help us discover new stories, new ideas, and new ways of seeing. So if you'd like to be part of that journey, send us an email or leave a comment below. Tell us who you think we should explore next. Thank you for watching and for helping shape the future of this channel. Coming soon.